Part 1. Fantasy, me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 1. The deserted city. On a busy street. I don't know when. An attic appeared, which seemed unremarkable at first glance. But take a closer look. There seems to be some kind of divine truth hidden in the attic. Loft front. A man with a handsome face and a tall figure, wearing a green shirt, stepped on a stool and struggled to hang a plaque on the doorframe. TNG Tower. What a loud tone. This couplet is a bit interesting. The first couplet criticizes yin and yang and breaks the 5 elements. Look at the sun and moon in the palm of your hand. The second couplet connects the ancient and modern yin and yang, hiding the universe in the sleeves. Horizontal batch, the secret is unpredictable. Tisk tisk, is this person stupid? He dares to say such big words. The secrets of heaven are unpredictable, and those who spy on them will inevitably suffer misfortunes. Doesn't this young man understand? Passers-by around. After seeing the store's plaque, many people became interested. Certainly. More people have the attitude of watching a show. In the fantasy world, strength is paramount, which does not mean that you are not interested in the secrets of heaven. However, even the emperor-level experts dare not interfere with the operation of the secrets of heaven, and even if they see through it, they dare not speak out. Ken. The small shop in front of me is directly listed as Tianjilu. It is tantamount to going against the heaven in this world. After revealing the secret once or twice, it is estimated that the owner of the shop will be unable to bear the backlash of the secret. TNG building opens today, welcomes all guests and takes care of the business of the shop. Hang up the plaque. Li Yun jumped down from the stool. He flicked the dust off his clothes and said to passers-by with a smile and cupped hands. He is the owner of TNG Tower. He was not originally from this world, but when he woke up, we arrived in this strange world. The strong moved mountains and reclaimed seas, destroying heaven and earth, while the lives of the weak were like grass and grass. Fortunately, the system was awakened on the first day after traveling through time. The secret system. Gu Mingsiyi. This system can deduce the secret of heaven. Anyone in this world, as long as he enters the TNG Tower, his past and future will be clearly investigated. This kind of investigation is not unlimited. Every time he investigates, a certain amount of TNG points will be consumed. The opponent's strength exceeds the stronger, or the higher the potential, the more secret points will be consumed to detect the opponent's secret ones. And the way to obtain the secret points is also very simple. Anything of value can be exchanged with the system, including but not limited to, power laws, supernatural powers, secret techniques, elixirs, heavenly materials and earthly treasures, etc. Everything, as long as the system deems it valuable, can be used to exchange for TNG points. As for Li Yun, the owner of TNG Tower. After you have the secret points, you can choose to use the secret points to exchange for cultivation, skills, elixirs and other things in the system, or you can use them to explore other people's secrets. It is worth mentioning that the elixirs and techniques redeemed by the system can only be used by him alone. This way, directly cut off the possibility of him starting a second line of business. I'm afraid I won't be able to get out of the TNG Tower until I'm not strong enough. Li Yun thought in his heart. Revealing the secrets of heaven will inevitably lead to backlash from heaven. This is said in the world of high martial arts, let alone the world of fantasy. Only the TNG Tower can block the induction of heaven, suppress all those with tyrannical cultivation, and let oneself in a certain state of invincibility. Leaving TNG Tower can be said to be looking for death. Now everything is ready, all it takes is the right person. Li Yun glanced at the people on the street. The people standing here are ordinary people watching the excitement. Only a small number of them have cultivation, but they are too weak and they probably won't be able to bring out many valuable things. If you want to pluck wool, we still have to wait for big customers. But how to get big customers to come is a tricky thing. Li Yun shook his head and didn't think too much. People who want to come will naturally come. People who don't want to come can't even pull them in at all with his strength. If you don't enter the Tianji building, it's better to wait peacefully. Back in the building, Li Yun made a pot of hot tea, then lay down on a bench leisurely, holding a book in his hand, and read it with relish. Just when Li Yun was reading, outside the Tianji tower, a girl in white, with a cold temperament, wearing a white dress, carrying a simple long sword on her back, like a Tianshan snow lotus, blooming in the wind. Within a radius of 3 feet of her, no one dared to stand. The girl looked at the words Tianji Tower with interest, and there was a hint of splendor in her eyes. Can the secret be measured? Even my master can't do this. I want to see who is the master who dares to say such crazy things. The girl muttered to herself. She walked toward the Tianji Tower. As soon as she entered the building, she noticed something was wrong when she saw the scene inside. The Tianji Tower was antique, simple, and elegant, and everything inside was ordinary, but the placement together, there is an inexplicable charm. There is a natural feeling of flowing along the road. Something weird. The girl said something in her heart. But she couldn't tell what was weird about it. Miss Liu. While the girl was dazed, a clear voice came from the side. Li Yun, dressed in a green shirt with a smile on his face, sat up from the bench, stretched out his hand to greet. The girl traveled hundreds of millions of miles and came to Dawang City. There were many difficulties and dangers along the way. How about drinking a cup of hot tea first? Fantasy, me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 2. You know me. The girl was stunned for a moment. This was the first time she left the section. She kept a low profile along the way, and her true identity was rarely recognized. But she didn't expect that as soon as she stepped into the Tianji Tower, the man in green shirt in front of her opened her eyes. Revealed his last name. How many people in the world don't know the reputation of Lu Chensu, the third disciple of the Luo sword sect? Li Yun said with a smile. In front of him, there was a light blue light curtain floating on it, which had displayed all the information about the girl in white. Name, Lu Chensu. Strength, middle stage of Tongqiao realm. Affiliated force, the Luo sword sect. Master, Master de Luo, ranking 2. Current situation, slightly injured, currently hunting down Du Qianshang, the core disciple of the 9 Nether Demon section. Click to expand more. Anyone who enters the Tianji building will have all their information instantly queried. Whether it is the past or the present, everything can be displayed. Because this is something that has already happened, revealing it is not a leak. But if you want to inquire about future events, or if you are not in the Tianji Tower, and you want to inquire about the other party's situation, you will have to spend Tianji points. Who are you? Lu Chensu said with a solemn expression. She is not a fool. Her master is the headmaster of the Luo sword section. He is very famous, but it has nothing to do with her. She is just the third disciple, and this is her first time going down the mountain. To say that everyone has having heard of her reputation, it is impossible. Since the person in front of him can recognize her, he has probably paid attention to her for a long time. Maybe the other party is waiting for her to come over. Thinking of this, Lu Chensu's heart tightened, and she wanted to move True Yuan. But the result surprised her. I don't know when. Her cultivation in the middle stage of the aperture realm had disappeared without a trace. There was no True Yuan in her meridians, as if she was a weak woman who had never practiced before. What did you do to me? Lu Chensu was shocked. She was still too inexperienced. When she entered the world for the first time, she failed in a shop before she could make a name for herself. The person in front of her could make her cultivation disappear, and he would definitely be able to make her disappear silently. Obliterate. Miss Liu, there's no need to panic, I don't mean any harm. Li Yun waved his hand and extended his hand to indicate, as the saying goes, the visitor is a guest. How could Li want to do something evil to the girl? Junior Meng Lang, Senior, please don't blame me. Lu Chensu recovered quickly, and she slightly bowed her hands. Although the man in front of her could not see the strength, he could make all his cultivation disappear silently. He was obviously not an ordinary person. As far as she knew, even my own master couldn't do this. From this, we can conclude that the senior in front of him must be an unparalleled master. If he wants to kill himself, it will be like crushing an ant, without any effort. If he is his enemy, let alone himself, even the great Luo sword sect behind him would probably suffer disaster. Thinking of this, Lu Chensu immediately changed his previous attitude and became extremely respectful. No problem. Li Yun didn't care, with a smile on his face. Tianji Tower can even block the way of heaven. It can be said that it is effortless to deal with a young talent. Even if Master De Luo is here, he can't make a splash at all. I don't know, Senior, what do you call him? Lu. Chensu asked cautiously. His surname is Li, and his single name is Yun. He is the owner of this Tianji building. Li Yun said lightly. He had the air of a master from outside the world. It was unclear what he was thinking in his mind. It turns out to be the owner of Tianji building. The senior summoned the junior to come, but what orders do you have? Lu. Chensu secretly took a look at Li Yun's face and asked softly. In her opinion, every move of such an unassuming and impeccable expert has its own profound meaning. From the moment she stepped into the Tianji building, maybe it was all planned by the seniors. It's nothing important, I just want to show you a clear path. Li Yunfan said lightly. Clear path? Lu Chensu was confused. Dare I ask what the clear path senior said is? Aren't you chasing Du Jianshang? Li Yun picked up the teacup, took a sip, put down the teacup, and said bluntly. Ah! Lu Chensu was shocked. This matter is top secret. Only she and Du Jianshang know about it? It must not be spread out at this moment. Du Jianshang is also the core disciple of Juyu Demon sect, and there is a Juyu Demon standing behind him. Elder Zone, if the other party knew about it, it might lead to a war between Juyu Demon sect and Luo sword sect. Only after she killed Du Jianshang could she let the news spread. Because Juyu Demon sect would not let the news spread because of one person. A dead person is an enemy of the Luo sword sect. At most, he should be held accountable. If he is a living person and the Juyu Demon sect doesn't care, people's hearts will be shattered. It will give people the illusion that they can't even protect their core disciples. How did the seniors know? Lu. Chensu asked nervously. How do I know? Li Yun chuckled lightly. Have you forgotten the couplet at the entrance of Tianji Tower? He stood up, stood with his hands behind his hands, and said enigmatically, there is nothing in this world that Tianji Tower doesn't know about. As long as I am interested, nothing can be hidden from my calculations. Reading books on May Day will be great. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Grab a deposit now. Activity time, April 29th to May 3rd. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 3. Hearing Li Yun's words, Lu Chensu was shocked at first. Then, what a surprise! The senior in front of me was extremely powerful, and every word he said had a profound meaning. The words he just said certainly meant something. She thought about it carefully. Senior is saying, do you know the whereabouts of Du Jianshang? Nature. Li Yun nodded. The fish bit the hook. Unexpectedly, the first sale came so quickly and so early. Please give me some advice from my seniors. Lu Chensu said respectfully. She and Du Jianshang have reached a fight to the death. Today, Du Jianshang will not die. When she walks around the world in the future, she must be prepared for sneak attacks. Du Jianshang is not an ordinary person. He is a core disciple. In terms of qualifications, they are not much worse than her. Over time, it is hard to say which of the two will achieve higher or lower achievements. Almost everyone in the cultivation world understands the principle of letting the tiger go back to the mountains. Li never gives advice to others without any reason. Li Yun said with a smile. The system requires secret points to deduce others. He has 0 secret points now. Even if he wants to give guidance, he is simply unable to do so. The meaning of the existence of the Tianji Tower is to deduce the secrets of heaven. Every time I reveal the secrets of heaven, I have to suffer the backlash of heaven. Do you understand the consequences? Li Yun paused for a moment and continued to speak meaningfully. As for the backlash from heaven, it was all made up by him. Otherwise, there would be no way for the lion to open his mouth. I see. Lu Chensu suddenly realized, and at the same time she secretly blamed herself. The senior thought about herself so much. She actually wanted to let the senior tell her the news directly. It was really inappropriate. She pondered for a moment. From the space ring, he took out a long sword with flashing light, brought it to Li Yun, and asked softly. There are not many valuable things in this junior's body. I wonder if this high-grade spiritual treasure can catch the eyes of seniors. Lu Chensu was very uneasy. In her eyes, this high-grade spiritual treasure is of extraordinary value. But in the heart of the senior, only God knows how much weight it will have. After all, even if a hermit master like the senior takes out a few sacred items, soldiers, even imperial soldiers, are possible. Ding, I found a high-grade spiritual treasure, which can be exchanged for dozens of secret points. Suddenly, the system prompt sounds. Li Yun's heart moved, his expression remained unchanged, and he asked in his heart. System, check the whereabouts of Du Jianshang. Inquiring about Du Qianshang's whereabouts requires 5 TNG points. The host has insufficient TNG points and cannot query. Oh. Li Yun raised his eyebrows. Only 5 points are needed. The spiritual treasure given by Lu Chensu is worth 10 secret points. So, he can still get a kickback of 5 secret points. This is not a loss. Li Yun can't move. He took the high-grade spiritual treasure from Lu Chensu's hand and exchanged it for TNG points. He had 10 TNG points. Li Yun said in his heart. System, query the whereabouts of Du Jianshang. Name, Du Jianshang. Strength, middle stage of Tongjiao realm. Affiliated force, Juyu demon sect. Master, Yang Qiu, the elder of the 9 nether demon sect. Current location, 500 miles north of Dawang City, in the Nameless Valley. Current situation, seriously injured, the 5 demons devouring heaven formation is being deployed. Click to view details, to fight against Lu Chensu. At the same time, Yang Qiu of the 9 nether demon sect is on his way and is expected to arrive in 2 hours. Click to expand more. Good guy. Li Yun clicked his tongue. Not only did I not lose money this time, I also made a lot of money. Not only did he inquire about the whereabouts of Du Jianshang, he also obtained the unique formation of the 9 nether demon sect and the method of breaking the formation of the 5 demons devouring heaven formation. The 5 demons devouring heaven formation already exists. There is also a way to naturally break the formation. This thing does not need to be deduced from heaven's secrets. It is considered a bonus of the system. After reading Du Qianchang's introduction, under Lu Chensu's earnest gaze, Li Yun spoke. Du Qianchang is currently in a valley 500 miles north of Dawang City. You can go and find it on your own. Thank you, senior. Lu Chensu was overjoyed and quickly thanked her. Although 500 miles is not far away, she still doesn't know when she will find it if she relies on her own search. If she is rescued by an expert from her sect, she will be able to steal the chicken this time. It's over. I've established a strong enemy for nothing, and I'm still a member of the Devil's Path. I didn't even cry. The opponent has no bottom line. He will make a sneak attack at any time. Thank you. Lu Chensu turned around and left. Wait a moment. Li Yun said. What else can you do, senior? Lu Chensu turned around and asked puzzledly. Since you are the first guest of Tianji Tower, I will tell you one more piece of news. Li Yun said with a smile. He still understands the principle of repeat customers. He relies on Lu Chensu to build a brand, but he is still worried that Tianjilu's business will not be prosperous. Du Qianchang has already deployed the 5 demons devouring heaven formation at this moment, and you only have 2 hours. You cannot kill Du Qianchang within 2 hours. The last person to die must be you. Li Yun said. Ah! Hearing these words, Lu Chensu was stunned. 2 hours? In addition to the time for traveling, you still have to break through the 5 demons devouring heaven formation? Isn't this a joke? Fantasy, me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 4. 5 demons devouring heaven formation. That was the 9 nether demon sect protecting formation, and it was very famous. Now, the 5 demons devouring heaven array set up by Du Qianchang must have been weakened countless times, but it was not something that a younger generation like her could break through. If you really encounter one, it would be good if you can save your life in the formation. Moreover, there are only 2 hours left. Lu Chensu suddenly felt that even if he went, he would probably come back defeated, and he would most likely be killed by Du Qianchang. After all, although Du Qianchang was seriously injured, he was not without the strength to fight. If you cooperate with the formation method, you will definitely not be the opponent's opponent. Scared, Li Yun glanced at Lu Chensu and said lightly. Whatever. I have a message for you. The formation set up by Du Qianchang has great shortcomings. If you enter through the dead door and exit through the closed door, the formation can be broken. Death Gate. Lu Chensu was shocked. The strongest link in the formation is the door of death. Once you enter here, it can be said that there is no life or death. If you rush in by yourself, let alone break the formation, it is unknown whether you can come out alive. If you are afraid, you can return to Deluo Sword Section. Li Yun raised his hand, pointed outside, and said, another quarter of an hour has passed. You don't have much time to choose. It's up to you whether to go or not. After saying that, Li Yun waved his sleeves. Suddenly, Lu Chensu felt his eyes go dark. When he came back to his senses, he found that he had arrived outside Dawang City. Who are these seniors? Lu Chensu's eyes lit up. With a wave of his hand, he sent himself outside the city. This was the first time she encountered such a method. She would definitely not be weaker than his master. To a certain extent, he was much stronger. A senior person like me would definitely not make fun of a junior like me. What he said is probably true. Lu Chensu thought in her heart. She exchanged a high-grade spiritual treasure for such important news. No matter how you look at it, it's not a loss. The key is, she also got the method of breaking the 5 demons devouring sky formation. When she meets Juyu in the future as a disciple of the demon sect, she can completely rely on this method to deal with the opponent, and she can definitely catch the opponent off guard. Junior Lucien Su, thank you senior for your guidance. Lucien Su bowed and saluted. After saluting, she turned into a stream of light, rose into the sky, and flew towards the north of Dawang City. In the Tianji Tower, Li Yun lay back on the bench again, with a smile on his lips. This time, I directly earned 5 secret points, no loss at all. It seems like 2 more messages were sent to Lucien Su. But in fact, it is nothing. Those 2 messages were originally given by the system. They are of little value to him, but to Lucien Su, they are as valuable as 1,000 pieces of gold. As long as Li Yun said one less thing, Lucien Su's final outcome would not be too good. Whether it was the 5 demons devouring heaven formation or the arrival of Master Du Jianshang, any Lucien Su would be dead. I don't know how much strength can be improved with 5 secret points. Li Yun was delighted. He did it as soon as he thought of it. He immediately chose to consume all the secret points to improve his strength. Ding, do you want to spend 5 secret points to improve your strength? Yes. Buzz. The next second, Li Yun felt that the endless power in his body burst out and poured into his limbs and bones. His flesh, bones, internal organs, all underwent earth-shaking changes. In just a moment, Li Yun felt, he received an indescribable sublimation, and he was in a state of ecstasy. His body seemed to have been tempered for thousands of times, and was full of explosive power. It seemed like a blink of an eye, and it seemed like hundreds of millions of years. Li Yun came to his senses again. He jumped, he stood up and observed his own changes. His body was as crystal clear as jade, surrounded by a fairy spirit, just like a fairy who had been banished to the world. It seemed that he would ride the wind back at any time. System, open the personal panel. Li Yun said. Name, Li Yun. Strength, 5th level of body training. Affiliated force, Tianji Tower. Master, none. Skills, none. Supernatural powers, none. Secret points, none. Current situation, peak condition. Click to see more. Does 1 Tianji point increase 1 level of strength? Li Yun murmured to himself. Currently at the 5th level of body training, he is already content. After all, the high-grade spiritual treasure given by Lucien Su is not a very precious thing. If he wants to improve his strength in the future, he will definitely need more than 1.2 points. Points of Tianji points can be increased. When you reach the body forging realm and above, I am afraid it is not just 1 point per level. Looking at the 2 words behind Kung Fu and supernatural power, Li Yun has a feeling that there is a long way to go. With his current strength, it is still too weak to the outside world. It seems that we have to find a way to open source it. Li Yun thought in his mind. Tianji points have too many uses. Strength, skills, magical powers, elixirs, weapons, and even detecting Tianji all require Tianji points. Lucien Su alone is not enough to support too many points. You have to think of a way to trick a few older people into coming over. At the very least, they have to be saints or saints from various holy places. Li Yun sat on the bench and began to think in his mind. Fantasy, me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 5. North of Dawang City. In an unknown valley. In the center of the valley, on a huge rock, a man in black robe, sitting cross-legged, with a gloomy face, a cold light in his eyes, and wisps of crimson murderous intent flowing around him, which is thrilling. 8,000 miles. A whole 8,000 miles. The man in black robe is Du Jianshang. His voice is cold, as if coming from the 9 nether hell, which makes people shudder. I only killed a few outer disciples of the Luo sword sect, but Lucien Su, you chased me for 8,000 miles and almost sent me into exile in the wilderness. This time, if you come again, this place will be the place where your bones are buried. Du Qianshang glanced around. In this valley, he has set up the 5 demons devouring heaven formation. With this formation, even if 10 more Luchins succumb, he will not be afraid at all. After all, this is the 9 nether demon section, the method of suppressing the sect. Even if it is simplified countless times, its power cannot be underestimated. If it is broken by ordinary people, the Juyo demon sect will no longer have to hang out in the world of cultivation. The master should be arriving soon. Du Qianshang licked the corner of his mouth and looked at a red token in his hand, which was glowing with luster. If I had known this, I would not have informed the master. Du Qianshang said coldly. Before, he was chased too closely by Luchinsu and had no time to set up his formation. He had no choice but to notify his master to rescue him. But what he didn't expect was that after the front foot was notified, the back foot would get rid of Luchinsu and let him calmly set up the formation. In this way, it doesn't matter whether his master comes or not. With his own layout, he can easily counter-attack the opponent. While thinking, Du Qianshang's heart moved. He stood up from the boulder and looked at the sky with a cold smile on his lips. Are you coming? A little faster than I expected. Call out. A streak of light broke through the sky. A figure in white suddenly appeared in the sky above the nameless valley. Senior is right, you are indeed here. Luchinsu was dressed in hunting clothes, standing in the void, holding a long sword in his hand. The moment he appeared, he slashed down with one sword. Clang! The sword light was like a rainbow, piercing the sky. There was a harsh whistle. Senior. Du Qianshang was confused. Who was the senior Luchinsu was talking about? Did anyone know that he was setting up a formation here? With the sword light approaching, he didn't have time to think too much. He quickly made seals with his hands and shouted coldly. 5 demons devouring the sky, start the formation. Roar. A deafening roar came out. The earth cracks. Within a radius of 10 miles, the demonic energy surged out and turned into a black Wangyang. The waves were magnificent and swept across the 9 levels of the sky. An invisible murderous intention was stirring. In the black sea of magic, 5 towering giants stood tall, their red eyes full of violent killing intent. One of them. Stretch out your big hand. He grabbed the sword light and crushed it into pieces. The 5 demons devouring heaven formation is activated. Du Qianshang breathed a sigh of relief. This formation gave him great confidence. Even if Luchinsu had an expert's guidance behind his back, he would not be afraid at all unless the other party showed up in person. As long as we wait until the master arrives, it's hard to say who will live and who will die. 5 demons devouring heaven formation. Luchinsu looked not surprised but happy, and spoke again. It seems that senior is right again, you have indeed set up this formation. Every step is just as the senior said. What Du Qianshang did is just like a puppet in the hands of the senior. Then everything that follows, think about it. It must be exactly what the seniors expected. Most of the 2 hours had passed, and there was no time to hesitate. Luchinsu looked at the sky, took a deep breath, and a look of determination appeared on her pretty face. Without any hesitation, she rushed straight into the formation, and her target was the death door in the formation. Is Luchinsu looking for death? Du Qianshang was puzzled when he saw Luchinsu's actions. Even people who don't understand the formation should understand. The death door is the most dangerous part of the formation. Anyone who goes in will be dead. It has been rare for thousands of years to see a person who can survive a desperate situation. Not everyone is lucky enough to escape from the door of death. Since you want to die, I will make it happen for you. Du Qianshang's face was fierce, and he squeezed the seal with both hands. Suddenly, a wave of earth-shattering force erupted. The murderous intent is unlimited. The 5 black giants, as if crawling out of the 9 nether hell, opened their big hands together, overwhelming the sky and the earth. covering the sky, suppressing Lu Su. Boom! The huge sound penetrated the gold and cracked the stone, rolling up the sky, like a tsunami that stretched across the sky, and endless stars fell together. It was extremely terrifying. Buzz! The void shook, almost torn to pieces. The five-headed trolls took action. Even though Lu Su was extremely powerful and invincible at his generation, it was impossible to stop him. After one blow, the smoke and dust cleared, and Lu Su's figure disappeared. Is this the end? Du Jianshang frowned. He was hunted for 8,000 miles and ended so dramatically, which gave him an unreal feeling. After all, Lu Su was also the third disciple of the Deluo sword sect, so how could he be so unwise? Du Jianshang couldn't figure it out. If he had known this, why would he be hunted down in such an embarrassing situation? Wrong. Suddenly, a sense of crisis surged into his heart. Du Jianshang retreated violently. Just after he had retreated less than 3 inches, a sword light passed past him. If he hadn't reacted quickly, the attack just now would have happened. The sword directly cut him in two. Even so, there was still a sword mark on his body. Dark red blood spurted out, dyeing his clothes red. How can it be? Du Jianshang's eyes widened with disbelief. He quickly looked in the direction where the sword light was flying. He saw Lu Su's white clothes fluttering in perfect condition. At this moment, Du Jianshang even had the clothes on his body. He couldn't even care about his injuries. He stared at Lu Su standing at the door of Xiamen and said word by word. How can you crack the 5 demons devouring heaven formation? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 6. The 5 demons devouring heaven formation is prestigious and well known in the cultivation world, but it is not unsolvable. It is still possible for some great masters of the formation to work together and spend some time to break through. Not to mention, the simplified version. But who is Lu Su? The third disciple of Deluo sword sect. As a swordsman, apart from swordsmanship, other knowledge such as alchemy, weapon refining, formations, etc., can be said to be almost zero. But he is just such a person. He escaped from the 5 demons devouring heaven formation unscathed and reached the core of the formation. This time, she broke the formation. This kind of formation breaking does not rely on violent destruction of the formation, but relies on the familiarity of the formation to break in from the weak point. His knowledge of the formation must be better than that of the person who set up the formation. Senior is right, your formation has too many flaws. Lu Su said in a cold voice. Every formation has shortcomings. But few people can find the flaws in the formation before the murderous intention of the formation falls. Even if they find it, whether they can rush through it is still a problem. Lu Su is precisely because, with Li Yun's reminder. Only then could he break the formation so calmly. Senior. Du Jianshang was like falling into an ice cellar. He hadn't paid it much attention just now. At this moment, after thinking about it carefully, he suddenly understood. Behind Lu Su, there must be a great master of the formation. Even if he didn't enter the formation, just by following the formation the outside world took a quick look and found the fatal flaw in the formation. This kind of vision. It's incredible. Who is the senior Lu Su talks about? Why did he do this? Du Jianshang had cold sweat on his forehead. He lost his biggest trump card and suddenly panicked. It's time for you to hit the road. Lu Su didn't answer, and she slashed out the long sword in her hand. The sword light was like a rainbow. The sky and the earth were eclipsed. It turned into a tangible wave, like a rune of the avenue, sweeping in all directions. You dare. Du Jianshang retreated quickly, with a stern voice, and shouted loudly, "My master is on the way here. When he comes, you will die. It's not too late for you to leave now." "Is your master?" Lu Chensu was neither surprised nor angry, and said calmly, "No wonder the senior told me that there are only 2 hours. I was a little confused just now. It turns out that your master is here." "What?" Du Jianshang was confused. "What kind of senior is he? Damn it! He tricked me to death. Why does everything about me seem to be clearly arranged?" Laugh. Another sword slashed through, and with a puff, blood flew from Du Qianshang's body. He was not Lu Chensu's opponent in the first place, otherwise he would not have been chased for 8,000 miles, and now he lost the blessing of the formation. The speed of defeat was beyond the limit expected. Shuangyang Fenfen. Lu Chensu stood in the void, motionless, and the sword in his hand shone brighter, creating a mysterious trajectory. Buzz. 2 rounds of blazing suns are rising slowly, blooming with thousands of sword lights, just like the sun hanging high in the sky for 9 days. Cut. Lu Chensu shouted softly, and pushed the 2 suns forward with her long sword. Like a female war goddess patrolling the world, she smashed the 2 big suns down from the sky. The blazing power exploded and was irresistible. "No!" Du Jianshang shouted in despair. The reason why he was seriously injured was because of this move. Now, he was seriously injured and encountered this move again, and he had no strength to resist. Du Jianshang raised a black flag and faced the wind. Long, covering dozens of meters in radius, trying to block the 2 scorching suns, but at the moment of contact. Just like ice and snow meeting the scorching sun, the 2 black flags were directly dissolved into nothingness. Bang, there was a loud noise. It drowned everything. Du Jianshang turned into nothingness without even letting out a scream. "Call." Lu Chensu let out a long breath, her face was as pale as paper. The attack just now had depleted her true energy, and she felt uncomfortable, but her eyes were full of energy. "Everything is exactly as the seniors said." She raised her head and glanced at the sky. Now, she could already feel that there was a huge crisis approaching rapidly from the distance. It was a cultivator's intuition, even if the master of the crisis had not yet arrived. But it has already made her feel like she fell into an ice cellar. Came so fast. Lu Chensu was extremely shocked. If she turned back to the Daluo sword sect, she would definitely be intercepted and killed by Master Du Jianshang on the way. How could she, a younger generation, outrun the older generation? Even if she informs her elders now, I guess I can't hold on to the other party to save me. The only way now is to go back to Dawang City. Thinking of that mysterious senior, Lu Chensu felt a lot more confident. The strength of the master of Tianji must have surpassed Master Du Jianshang. But the only thing she's not sure about is whether her senior will protect her. "Let's go to Dawang City first," Lu Chensu murmured in her heart. Even if the seniors did not protect themselves, as long as they were here, Master Du Jianshang would not dare to mess around in Dawang City. He made up his mind. Lu Chensu did not hesitate at all. He flew straight towards Dawang City. A quarter of an hour later. Over the nameless valley. The void twists. A terrifying momentum spread like a tide, sweeping across the sky. Tread. 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 An old man in black, with childish face and white hair, thin figure, with his hands behind his back, walked step by step from the void, each step falling thousands of miles away. Just now he was thousands of miles away, but after 3 or 2 steps, he was arriving at the sky above the valley. The old man's face was as sinking as water, and he glanced at the valley below. A suffocating wave of terror penetrated the void, with a radius of hundreds of miles. The land sank and the mountains collapsed. It was a scene of annihilation. Boom. The old man was motionless, but he suppressed the heaven and the earth, making the entire void overwhelmed and making a terrible sound. Who is it? The hoarse voice sounded like two wooden boards rubbing against each other. It made people's scalp numb and made them shudder. Fantasy, me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 7. Yang Kaiu, elder of the 9 Nether Demon Sect. Within the Juyu Demon Sect, not to mention Yiyan Juding, he is also an absolutely powerful figure. When he was a young man, he even competed for the position of the Holy Son of the Juyu Demon Sect. Although he was defeated, his strength was never underestimated. After not setting foot in the world for 1,000 years, have people in the world forgotten my reputation? The anger in Yang Qiu's chest rose like a volcano about to erupt. The terrifying demonic energy enveloped 100 miles around and turned it into a demonic realm. Someone actually dares to kill my beloved disciple. No matter who you are, I will take revenge. Yang Qiu grabbed it with his big hand. The void below was twisted, and a ray of sword intent was captured by him. The sword intent was very weak. In his palm, it was like a candle in the wind, which would be destroyed at any time. Delugo Sword Sect. Seeing the sword intention in his palm, Yang Qiu's eyes became even colder. He held it with 5 fingers. With a bang, the sword intention was crushed into nothingness by him. Then, Yang Qiu's eyes opened and closed, and his cold eyes swept across the void. And soon he confirmed a direction. Have you escaped to Dawang City? The other side. Lu Chensu panicked. She felt the demonic energy behind her, and its owner must be a holy lord level figure. That kind of people. The strength is extremely terrifying. It was simply not something she could handle. The other party wanted to kill her, and a thought was enough, without even taking action. Even though they were 500 miles apart, she was like a thorn in the back. This distance. For a saint-level figure, it means nothing, and they can come over in the blink of an eye. The good thing is, she has entered the deserted city. Tianji Tower. Close at hand. Senior, senior. Lu Chensu rushed into the Tianji Tower and shouted loudly. Came back. The lobby of Tianji building. Li Yun was lying on a bench, holding a book in his hand, reading with gusto, as if he had never changed his position for 2 hours. He was not surprised at all by Lu Chensu's arrival. Senior knows I'm coming back. Lu Chensu was overjoyed. The senior is indeed a senior. Everything was as he expected. Maybe the senior would have arrived long ago when he came back. Seeing Li Yun's calm look, Lu Chensu's anxious heart finally settled. After letting her go, the senior did not drive her out immediately. This had already conveyed an attitude to her. He wanted to protect himself. Apart from Dawang City, where else can you go? Li Yun stretched out his hand to turn over a page and said lightly. Although he is not very powerful now and does not know much about the cultivation world, he can understand with his toes that Lu Chensu is a younger generation. He is definitely not Du Jianshang, the opponent of the master. Even if some geniuses can leapfrog the challenge, it is impossible to leapfrog too many levels. More importantly, Lu Chensu is obviously not the kind of genius who defies heaven. She can only be regarded as a genius, and is far from the monster-level genius. A long way to go. Otherwise, she would not be just a third disciple. From all aspects, Lu Chensu is a dead end against Master Du Jianshang. As long as Lu Chensu is not stupid, she should understand that except there is no second way to Dawang City. And the development of the facts is just as Li Yun expected. I also ask Senior to save me. Afterwards, Deluo Sword Sect will definitely be richly rewarded. Lu Chensu said with great respect. It is one thing for seniors to be willing to take action, but one's own attitude is another matter. If he does not even have an attitude, This approach would be too chilling and may also make his seniors unhappy. It's nothing more than a trivial matter. Li Yun glanced at Lu Chensu with satisfaction and said to himself, this Lu Chensu is quite good. As long as you don't leave Tianji Tower, I'll make sure you're fine. Thank you, senior. Lu Chensu was overjoyed. Don't be too happy too early. Li Yun closed the book, looked over, and said aloud, I have a request. I don't know, senior, what are your requirements? Lu Chensu was stunned for a moment. Ask your master to come over and take you back. Li Yun said casually. Lu Chensu's status is still a little low. She is only a young prodigy. It is too slow and difficult to rely on her to build the reputation of Tianji Tower. But Lu Chensu's master is different. The headmaster of the Luo Sword sect. As long as he comes, Li Yun is confident that he can earn countless secret points by just saying a few words. Come to think of it, Lu Chensu's status as the third disciple should be enough for the headmaster of the Luo Sword sect to go there in person. Ah! Lu Chensu's pretty face turned pale. She felt quite embarrassed when she made a mistake in school and was called a parent. Why? Lu Chensu asked weakly. Have you forgotten what the Tianji building is? Li Yun rolled up the book in his hand into a roll, pointed to the door, and said, this is a place for business. The news that you bought Du Jianshang from me before was a transaction. Today, my saving your life is naturally a transaction. When your master comes, the transaction between us will be settled. Younger generation, understood. Lu Chensu pursed her lips and nodded slightly. She took out a piece of jade from the storage ring, entered a message, and quickly sent it out. After the message is sent. Do not know why. An unpleasant feeling arose in Lu Chensu's heart. Seem. After his master comes, bad things will happen to him. Fantasy, may. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 8. The night is as cold as water. Outside the Wang city. A layer of black mist enveloped him from all directions. It didn't take long. The entire deserted city was enveloped. An indescribable and oppressive atmosphere fell on everyone's shoulders. Everyone seemed to be carrying a huge mountain on their backs and was out of breath. What happened? Dawang City. In the main hall of the city lord. A middle-aged man with a round figure was practicing. When he sensed this aura, he suddenly woke up and looked up at the sky uneasily. My lord, no, oh no. At this time, a guard ran in and shouted loudly. What happened? Say it quickly. The lord of Dawang city stood up and said quickly. Just now, for some reason, the city was shrouded in a black mist, and everyone was pressed in place. Those with low strength could not even move. The guard said in panic. It's over. Hearing these words, the lord of Dawang city felt a chill in his heart, and his whole body felt as if he had fallen into an ice cellar. At this time, he didn't know that he had been unlucky for 8 lifetimes and met an expert in the devil's way. In the world of cultivation, killing people and massacring the city was like this. Things are too common. It is not uncommon for some people in the demonic path to sacrifice blood to a city, a sect, or a holy place. He is a large deserted city with only a few 100,000 people. It is in a desolate area and is targeted by people in the demonic path. It's reasonable. Even if they are destroyed, no one will probably care about it. After all, they have no backing. City Lord, what should we do? The guard swallowed his saliva and said dryly. What to do? May I know what to do? The Lord of Dawang City has no master. Since he dares to come, he must be completely sure that he, the lord of a small city, can be said to be dead or alive against others. Tread. At this time, a crisp sound of footsteps spread into everyone's hearts. It seemed to step on the apex of everyone's heart, making their hearts almost stop beating. Under the moonlight. Yang Qiu was dressed in black, his eyes deep, with flying snow-white hair. He walked out of the void step by step. As he approached, a terrifying killing intent surged. At this moment, many monks had cracked bodies, injured internal organs, and souls that were about to burst. The bones are about to melt. The murderous potential is endless. Everyone is terrified and wants to escape from this place, but their legs seem to be filled with lead. They can't even lift them up, let alone escape. Saint, Holy Lord level person. The Lord of Dawang City felt like his scalp was exploding. It's so scary. How could he let a Holy Lord level figure target him in a small deserted city? Such people. In any holy land, they are the top forces. To deal with them in the desert city, only one look is enough. Countless people will rush to destroy his deserted city in order to please him. Senior. The Lord of Dawang City forced out a smile that was uglier than crying, walked out of the main hall, came to the sky, and bowed to Yang Qiu. The attitude is extremely respectful, almost to the point of kneeling and licking. I don't know that my senior is coming here, but I am not expecting you from afar. Please don't blame me, senior. If there is anything you need me to do, senior, just give me your orders. The Lord of Dawang City said. He was very uneasy. Facing such a terrifying person, he didn't even dare to think of escaping. If he ran away, he would die. If he stayed, he might still have the possibility of survival. Yang Qiu heard the sound. He turned around and looked over. His sight was like a demonic mountain, pressing the Lord of the great wilderness city from high altitude to the ground. Bang! The Lord of the great wilderness city fell to the ground, splashing dust all over the sky. Not only did he not feel dissatisfied at all, but still with a smiling face. Roll. Yang Qiu spoke calmly. The word he spoke was like thunder from the sky, rumbling and roaring. When many people heard this sentence, they spit out a mouthful of blood for the first time. Even the Lord of Dawang City felt uncomfortable in his chest. But his eyes were very bright. The word go was as sweet as the sound of nature. He knew that his life was saved. This holy Lord level figure probably had no interest in Dawang City. When he came here, he should be interested. Other reasons. After figuring out the cause and effect, the panic of the great desert city lord began to subside, followed by huge curiosity. How big of a deal would it be for a holy lord level figure to make a trip in person? Tread. 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 Yang Qiu stepped forward in the void. His steps were slow but steady, and his goal was extremely clear. He walked down from a high altitude and stood on a street. In front of him, an ancient attic stood, visible to his eyes. There is a plaque directly above the portal. Tianji Tower. Criticize yin and yang and cut off the five elements, look at the sun and moon in the palm of your hand. Know everything about the past and present, and hide the universe in your sleeves. Can the secret be measured? Seeing this couplet, Yang Qiu's expression remained unchanged and he said indifferently, it's not a small tone, but do you think you can scare me? He, a saint-level figure, is only a thin line away from a saint, and he dare not say that he can see through the secrets of heaven. What qualifications does a heavenly secret tower hidden in a small desert city have to say so? Snort. Yang Qiu snorted coldly and strode towards the Tianji building. He had just sensed that the man from the Deluo sword sect who killed his disciple disappeared at the door of this attic. Come to think of it, that man must be hiding inside. Even if there is a mountain of swords and a sea of fire inside, he will still have to break through. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 9. Tianji Tower. The Lord of Dawang City also saw the attic. He was very curious. When did the Wang city have such a building? He had never heard of it. He shook his head. The lord of the Wang city shook off the distracting thoughts in his mind and still maintained a respectful posture. Standing there, the holy lord level figure has not left yet. He will never dare to slack off. If he makes the other party dissatisfied, he will wave his hand and the desert city will be gone. Tianji Tower. Yang Qiu walked into it. Bear the brunt. Then he saw a man in blue shirt lying on a bench. Judging from the appearance, the other party should be an ordinary person, without any spiritual energy flowing in his body, but the strange thing is that the other party has a trace of Taoism in his body. Although it was very faint, he still felt it. Can the people of the Luo sword sect be here? Yang Qiu had his hands behind his back and had a stern demeanor. He possessed a kind of supreme power that made people dare not look directly at him. Yang Kaiu. Li Yun put down the book in his hand and looked at the visitor, with a smile on his lips. The moment he raised his head, a light blue light curtain rose in front of him, and all of Yang Qiu's family assets emerged. Name, Yang Qiu. Strength, Peak of Tianyuan Realm, Peak of Holy Lord level. Affiliated Force, Juyu Demon Sect. Kung Fu, 9 Nethers Fusion Canon, Demonic Soul Crossing, Mad Demon Howling Heavenly Sutra. Supernatural Powers, Demon Eye Observation, 3 Slashes of Ghosts and Gods, Evil Finger Breaking the Sky, Evil Moon Heavenly Flower, Netherworld 9 Mysterious Palm, 9 Nether Heaven Killing. Weapons, Heavenly Demon Umbrella, Holy Lord level, Soul-Binding Life-Destroying Lock, Holy Lord level, 9 Mysterious Pearls, Celestial Elephant level, Demonic Cloud Shoes, Celestial Elephant level. Current situation, peak state. Because of the death of his disciple, he is furious and eager to find out the murderer behind the scenes and then cut him into pieces. Click to see more. After reading Yang Qiu's introduction, Li Yun's eyes twitched. This is a big fish. There were so many good things on him that he had the urge to rob them. Thinking of the reputation of Tianji Tower, Li Yun endured it with difficulty, picked up the teacup in front of him, took a sip, and finally suppressed the urge to rob. Will the people of the Luo sword sect do this again? Yang Qiu frowned and spoke again. He looked at Li Yun without blinking. For some reason, a sense of crisis arose in his heart. At that moment, he almost ran away. Fortunately, that feeling passed by in a flash and disappeared quickly. It was precisely because of this feeling that he did not choose to take action immediately, but planned to see the situation first. Fellow Daoist Yang, please sit down first. Li Yun waved his hand, and a chair appeared out of thin air on the ground. It's business, don't be in a hurry. What business? Yang Qiu did not sit down, but still stood where he was, and said in a deep voice, I am asking you if the people from the Luo sword sect are here. If they are here, you'd better hand them over. Otherwise, don't blame me for being ruthless. Oh? Li Yun raised his eyebrows and said amusedly, Tianji Tower is open for business, and its business is buying and selling news. Since you ask me where the people from the Luo sword sect are, isn't this just making a deal? Is it possible that you don't intend to trade, but want to grab the news? Li Yun was happy. Just now he was trying to figure out why he robbed Yang Qiu. Before he could take action, the other party handed him the clue. If the other party made the move first, then he wouldn't be to blame. It shouldn't be any of his business if he robbed him. Bar. How? Yang Qiu sneered, his eyes bloomed with cold light, and he said solemnly, do you think I dare not? Wrong. As a person of the demonic way, if you have never done anything like plundering, then it is really a failure. As an elder of the Juyu demon sect, Yang Qiu has done all kinds of things, not to mention killing and stealing, but also hunting down the Holy Sun. The Tianji Tower was destroyed when he said it would be destroyed. He didn't even blink an eye. But just when this thought arose, a huge sense of crisis came. Yang Qiu was confused at that time. As a Holy Lord level figure, his intuition is extremely sharp and has never been wrong. Since this alert appeared, it was definitely not without reason. He turned to look at Li Yun and found that the other party was actually looking at him with fiery eyes. He suddenly shuddered. Something was wrong. Something is wrong. This Tianji Tower seems not as simple as I thought. Since Taoist friends are talking about trading, I wonder what kind of trading method it is. I sensed something was wrong. Yang Qiu smiled stiffly, leaned over and sat on the chair, and said aloud. Huh. This time, it's Li Yun's turn to be confused. What's going on? Are you taking action? If you take action, I promise I won't kill you. I just snatched your storage ring and your skills. Cough. Li Yun coughed lightly. For the sake of Tianji Tower's reputation, he once again suppressed the urge to grab people. He cleared his throat and said, "It depends on what news the fellow Taoist wants to buy." "What kind of news can I buy?" "You can buy any news." "That, who is the person who killed my disciple?" "A top-notch spiritual treasure." Yang Qiu was silent for a moment. A top-quality spiritual treasure, although valuable, is nothing to him. Present. He directly took out a long spear with a cold light on it, threw it towards Li Yun, and said, "Fellow Taoist, can you speak now?" "De Luo Sword Sect, Luchin Su." Li Yun took the spirit treasure and tried to exchange it in the system. The price given by the system was 20 secret points. The top-grade spirit treasure was more than twice as expensive as the top-grade spirit treasure Luchin Su took out. And it was him the white wolf with empty gloves came from a trap. This wave of profits is huge. He knew this news from the beginning, and he was the one who facilitated it. It was used to exchange for the best spiritual treasures. No matter how you look at it, it is a cost-free transaction. Is that really the case? Yang Qiu's heart was moved. This news was similar to what he had guessed. It was also from the Great Luo Sword section. The only difference was that he didn't know who from the Great Luo Sword sect did it. And the Tianji building master in front of him directly told this person's name. Where is this person now? Yang Qiu asked. A top-notch spiritual treasure. Li Yun stretched out his hand and gestured. Yang Qiu. Another top-quality spiritual treasure was sent out, Yang Qiu said in a deep voice. Now you can say. Dawang City, Tianji Tower. Are you kidding me? There was a bang. Yang Qiu stood up suddenly, his eyes were about to burst into flames, and his face was as black as the bottom of a pot. He felt that his whole body was not good, and he seemed to have been tricked. It was a great time to read books on May Day. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP point coupons. Grab a deposit now. Activity time, April 29th to May 3rd. Fantasy, May. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 10. Are you kidding me? Yang Qiu stared at Li Yun with his eyes, and his tone was not good. Anyone who knows that he has been tricked will not be in a good mood. Not to mention, he is a member of the Devil's Path. The reason why he has not taken action now is because he was a little worried. What if the person in front of him turned out to be a hidden master? How? Li Yun narrowed his eyes and said in an equally unkind tone, "Are you doubting the integrity of Tianji Tower? What Li told you is all genuine news. I can tolerate anything. But the reputation of Tianji Tower cannot be smeared. This is his business. If people think that Tianji Tower is selling fake news, how can it be tolerated?" He. Yang Qiu laughed angrily. He never doubted whether the news was true or false. What made his liver hurt was that he seemed to have been fooled. Yang Qiu said in a cold voice, "So, Your Excellency is going to become the enemy of the 9 Nether Demon section." He didn't say that he was his enemy. He was worried that his reputation would make him unable to suppress the people in front of him. But the Juyu demon sect was different. After all, it was also a major sect of demons. It had a profound foundation and had stood for millions of years. Most people would not dare to take it easy. Provoke. Hand over Lu Su, and I will spare you a way out. Yang. Chiu said in a deep voice. Excuse me. Li Yun shook his head and said Tianji Pavilion only buys and sells news and does not do other business. You are seeking death. Yang Chiu shouted coldly. He stretched out one hand and grasped the void. The picture in his imagination did not appear. He held a lonely figure in his hand. What happened? Yang Chiu frowned. He wanted to take out the demonic umbrella and have a fight with the person in front of him to try the opponent's trump card, but just when he was about to take action, his cultivation base disappeared without knowing it. Not only his cultivation base was gone. Even the weapons hidden in Zi Mansion cannot be used. Now he is exactly like an ordinary person. What did you do to me? Yang Qiu was horrified. When did his cultivator disappear? Why didn't he feel anything? If he didn't want to do something, he never realized that he had become an ordinary person. If this person wanted to kill him. Think of this. A layer of cold sweat broke out on Yang Qiu's body and he didn't dare to think about it anymore. This man is terrible. He is definitely not a saint, nor can he be a saint king. According to his memory, even a quasi-emperor cannot do this. Is he a great emperor? Or immortal? Did you just want to take action? Li Yun stood up and asked the question without answering. A strange light bloomed in his eyes. At this moment, the entire Tianji tower seemed to come alive. Boundless pressure fell from the sky and pressed on Yang Qiu. With a bang, he was crushed. On the ground. The whole person was in the shape of a big character, lying on the ground, without any resistance. Li Yun walked over step by step, and said as he walked, "You are so brave. Since the establishment of Tianji Tower, you are still the first person. Want to do it here? Although the Tianji Tower can only be built in one day." Yang Qiu didn't know. After hearing Li Yun's words, Yang Qiu's eyes darkened, and he secretly thought, it's over. He has kicked the iron plate. God knows the origin of this Tianji Tower. How terrifying it is that I actually want to take action here. Isn't it just an old birthday star who hangs himself because he thinks his life is too long? This Tianji building owner is so terrifying. With this one hand, the method that can make the cultivation base disappear silently is not there. Juyo the demon sect can be provoked. Even if you are the elder of the 9 nether demon sect, you must not be arrogant in the Tianji tower. Li Yun stood in front of Yang Qiu, looking down at him from a high position. He glanced over and saw a pitch black ring on the index finger of Yang Qiu's left hand. If his guess was correct, this was Yang Qiu's storage ring. Li Yun's expression moved slightly. He was about to reach out and take off the ring, but then stopped. It seems that in the fantasy world, any magic weapon will recognize its owner. Presumably, this storage ring must also recognize its owner. Take it off yourself. What should I do if I can't open it? In the final analysis, the biggest function of Tianji building is to detect Tianji. Protecting him is just a side effect and has no other functions at all. It is impossible to help him open someone else's storage ring. If Yang Qiu is killed, the ring is naturally ownerless, but it can be opened. But the reputation of Tianji Tower is over. For the sake of one transaction, all future transactions are cut off. No matter how you look at it, it will be a bit of a loss. For a while, Li Yun is faced with a difficult decision. Senior. At this time, Yang Qiu shouted, "I am blind and ignorant of Mount Tai. The matter of Du Qianshang has just been exposed, and I will never pursue it. Just now." Yang Qiu felt a huge crisis again. This was already the second time. Yang Qiu's heart felt cold. He knew that the Tianji building master in front of him might have murderous intentions. Without opening his mouth, maybe I don't even know how I died. Li Yun pondered. Lu Chensu is only his first client, so he naturally has to take care of him, but for Lu Chensu, it is still a bit of a loss to let go of the scapegoat in front of him. Senior. Yang Qiu was overjoyed when he saw this scene. It seemed that what he just said was on point. He shouted again and said loudly, "Here, there is a celestial level magic weapon, the 9 mysterious beads. It's a little bit of kindness from this junior, please." "Thank you, senior," said. Yang Qiu took out a 9-color brilliance ball from the space ring and sent it to Li Yun. A celestial level treasure is not a cabbage on the roadside. Yang Qiu doesn't have many. Send it out. 1. His heart was bleeding. But for the sake of his life, he had no choice but to give up his love. More importantly, he was like an ordinary person just now, but there was no obstacle when opening the space ring. This shows that what? It shows that everything about me is under the control of the senior. Cough. Li Yun coughed lightly, put away the 9 mysterious beads calmly, and said in a deep voice, "Li is not a person who steals by chance, and the main business of Tianji Tower is also buying and selling news. Senior, stop talking, I'll buy it." Yang Qiu is very knowledgeable about current affairs.